The Evermore podcast is now sponsored by WFST Total Compliance. WFST provides fire safety requirements UK-wide to prepare you and your employees should the worst happen. Do what you do best and visit wfst.co.uk today. Enjoy the episode. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Evermore YouTube channel. That has got to be your best video yet, Mark. What an unbelievable intro to the end of a pretty shit game, but with a brilliant result. That's right. We are back with a post-match live reaction to Newcastle United's 0-0 draw. I can't believe I've ever been so excited about a 0-0 draw in my life, Mark. 0-0 draw against the shitness that is Leicester City at St James's Park. But we all know Monday nights we normally do what's going on. I'll tell you what's going on tonight, Mark. That gets us to qualify for the Champions League for the first time in 20 fucking years. How amazing is that,
man? Yeah, it's canny achievement, isn't it? It really, when you consider where you were a year ago, it's not bad at all, is it? I mean, yeah, I think that was a tough grind though tonight. I mean, that was a hard slog. That was not the most fun game to watch in the world at all. It was awful at times.
For anyone.
It was just, yeah.
But the final whistle goes, and nobody gives a shit because Newcastle United are in the top four. We're going to get stuck right into this in a minute, everybody. We're going to unpack it on an unbelievable night for Newcastle United, a massive night of success for Eddie Howe, for the players, for the club, for the owners, for the city, for the fans. Every Newcastle fan around the world, doesn't matter if you're in the Gallagher end or if you're in fucking Guatemala. We're all buzzing tonight, tomorrow, this afternoon, wherever fucking time it is in your time zone. We're all over the moon. So we're going to get stuck right into this. Just a little reminder, as I always say beforehand, if you're new to the channel, please click subscribe. I'd love you to come and join us. We're over 3,550. Mark has done his homework and updated this now because it keeps growing every single week. We love it. You do love a bit of Newcastle United content and the odd rant every now and again. So make sure you check out just a little one. Just check out Evermore. There'll be no ranting tonight apart from just me saying how amazing Newcastle United are. So smash that button, everybody. Like the video. And obviously, we are live tonight. As always, we've already had a few early starters in. Damn right in Pope, we trust, George. Good to see you. Ian is feeling very emotional, baby, tonight. He thinks he's going to cry. Great save by Pope as well. Like Jack saying we've all aged about 10 years in the last 50 minutes of that game, which we will all get stuck into in a minute, Jack. But we've got loads of comments flying in from you guys, honestly. We'll get stuck right into them in a minute. But do you know what? Great comment there, actually, from Andrew, which I'm going to come to in a minute. We're not going to go play by play because, let's be honest, there wasn't a great deal of highlights. Certainly not from Leicester, as Andrew says there. They parked 3 buses. They parked the bus that bad. I thought they were going to charge Isaac for a fucking single to the Haymarket. It was that bad, mate. They were horrendous, Leicester. No shots on target, I don't believe. Well, one shot on target.
One in the end, wasn't it?
One very big one towards the end. But let's get stuck in, Mark. But obviously, this is how, well, this isn't quite how we lined up. This is how
it was supposed to be.
It was supposed to be. And obviously, Joe Litton pulled out at the last minute. And in came Elliot Anderson. Now, I've got to say this, Mark, right, before we get into the lads, right? Brilliant to see Sean back, no doubt about that. My ITK did come off, by the way. We didn't talk about it, but I had great ITK that Mr. Longstaff was going to be back for Monday.
Be careful. Be careful. You're not getting landed with that tag.
No. We don't do ITK here. But the person who told me, fair, was absolutely fucking bang on. But we didn't go on terrible because we don't do that shit for clickbait. We just rely on good content. But obviously, Elliot Anderson came in, and I've got to say this: we did a video recently about people talking about Newcastle's money, and it's all about the money and all this kind of a shit, right? In that starting 11 tonight, the left back was from Blythe, and 2 of the midfielders, one was from North Shields and one was from Whitley Bay. So you can stick your fucking Neymars, Messis and all that fucking bollocks up your ass. There was 3 lads in there, Geordie born and bred, and by God, did they all do what they needed to do, Mark, to get the result, as you rightly say, mate. We're not going to unpack the game bit by bit. Just talk about the game in general, Mark. I mean, what a brilliant achievement by Eddie Howe and the lads.
Yeah, look, it's been an absolutely sensational season, hasn't it? And just they've thoroughly deserved it. All the comments from certain places about, you know, there was one earlier on that I saw from a Man U fan was like, "Oh, Newcastle don't deserve it because of where they were last season." What on earth did I read? They've been absolutely brilliant all season. They've had two off patches, where they weren't winning games but not losing games, not conceding goals. It's been a sensational season for them. The job Eddie Howe has done, and I know we absolutely wax lyrical about the guy, but the job Eddie Howe has done at St James's Park has been nothing short of an absolute miracle in terms of the way that he's turned it around. And yeah, I mean, it's just the most thoroughly deserved qualification for the Champions League. I think, outside of winning the league, it's just been brilliant.
Absolutely sensational. It was great to see Big Al and Nobby in the crowd as well. Obviously, a throwback to Champions League. Obviously, Shay Given had been in the club. Sky did a bit a week or so ago. The club put a cracking video up with Shay Given talking to Nick Pope and the masterclass. And probably made you want to put the gloves back on, Mark, watching that, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely right.
There was no cameras when you were there, mate. You'd probably see me trying to slide tackle you and hurt you in the middle of a goal line melee, probably, if we had the old cameras back then, I reckon. But it was great to see the heroes of yesteryear come back. Just some of the comments as well, guys. You're all absolutely buzzing. Some of you are getting quite emotional. And Sisis there is really emotional about this. 2 years ago, would never have thought this day would come. Absolutely. Isn't it just amazing? This is football in its purest sense, Mark, isn't it? What a difference a year can make. Oh, look at that. You naughty bastard. I love it. I absolutely love this this wizardry you're pulling out tonight, Mark. That's sensational. Just leave that on. That's going to be on now, right through the end of next.
I can leave it. Yeah.
Until we get on now. Until we get put out or win the fuck out, then that's staying up there, mate. Every single video right now, that's staying up there. I absolutely love that. But yeah, going back to it, as Si rightly says, we never thought in a million years that this was going to happen. When you think about where this club was, under Bruce, under Ashley, before the takeover, it was at its lowest ebb, Mark, wasn't it? Everybody was sick as fuck. Loads of people didn't bother going back. I wasn't really bothering going back to games. I was getting the odd ticket. Most of the time you had to beg. People had to beg you to take a ticket, really. And now you kind of get a seat for love no money. There's 29,000 waiting in the fucking season ticket queue. This club is just taking off, isn't it? Like a rocket ship. And who wouldn't want to be on board this ship, mate, going forward? Who wouldn't want to be on board?
No, it is just the start, isn't it? I mean, we've talked about this was always going to be, if you made it to the Champions League now, it was a couple of seasons at least ahead of schedule, but grab it both hands, stay there, and that's the plan now. You're on board this journey now, and the caliber of players that you'll now be able to tap into, the extra revenue that comes in, it's all just a massive positive for the club going forward, and it's just step by step now into onto the next and better things. Absolutely. Just a shout out there, Jack's bang on. I thought Elliot Anderson did brilliantly tonight. I mean, to step into that midfield berth, to take over, from Joe Linton, him and Sean, I think together, the energy, the legs. I mean, Sean, you could see that energy was back with Sean there. He was flat. Some of the tackles he put in, I mean, there was one he put in on Vardy with his wrong foot, which is a brilliant challenge. It really was. But what I loved about Anderson, he was always showing for the ball. He had a couple of cheeky efforts as well, to be fair to him. He was linking up really well with Isaac as well. Yeah,
he's not scared to come looking for the ball. I mean, he's a young boy, and he's only going to get better. As you rightly say, Mark, the caliber of player is going to go up another notch next season, right? We all know this. And Elliot might get loaned out to maybe a really good championship club. He excelled in League One, and he might very well excel again in championship if he puts in shifts like that for, say, I don't know, maybe who's going to go down? Maybe a Southampton or something like that. Possibly who's gone down, or possibly one of the other chasing teams, a West Brom or something like that. If he plays like that, week in, week out, he's only going to get better and better, then come back to Newcastle a much better place. So I was really, really happy with Anderson's performance. A couple more comments there from Kenk. This is the moment he's been waiting for 20 years. Get in Champions League. It wouldn't be Kenk if he wasn't talking about new signings, Mark. Every single episode, he wants them 5 new signings, doesn't he? He wants a winger, 2 midfielders, a young left back, and a right foot centre back. Do you know what, Kenk? I actually think that they will do exactly the same thing as well, mate. I think the club will be looking at that. John is saying the Amazon series will be cracking next season. I do agree with that. Now we've finished it, Mark, with that perfect little fucking full stop of Champions League, mate. This would be absolutely brilliant. Kev saying BBC Radio 5 has been a disgrace. An important game for the best Newcastle and Leicester. What do we talk about cricket? Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Radio 5 anyway, mate.
Was it on TalkSport though? Because it depends on who's got the rights for the game. I guess TalkSport might have had it. To be fair to them, so But yeah, I mean, if they've not, then Jesus, Howe, it's.
I've got to be careful, Kev. I can't slag off Radio 5. We'll go on no radio shows at this rate, mate. The amount of enemies I'm making, mate. Unlike other podcasts who are happy to go on, yeah. I don't think we're going to go on that station, mate. Lee Kelly saying, get in there, Chris and Mark. Champions League is calling us. Newcastle buzzing. Big time football. Put the thumbs back up for the lads. Absolutely. Oh, I love this one, George. Somebody get clipping the Samaritan's number. Twat. Oh, I love it. Absolutely.
Bless him.
Oh, bless his cotton socks. Maybe he puts his glasses back on and stops being a dick. We'll actually feel a bit sorry for him, really. Get them contacts out, Jurgen, you twat face. Who else we got in the comments here? Yeah, we've got Peter saying, shame on Leicester, part of the bus. Do you know, just a little talk on Leicester, Mark. I thought it was weird when you saw that lineup. There was no Harvey Barnes. There was no James Maddison. They're fighting for their lives. They need a result. I thought that was weird. What was your take on that from a Leicester point of view?
I think it's I can't remember who it was put it in our chat group earlier on. I think it was generally just to keep whatever happened today, keep the score down, or try and nick something out of the game, and it's exactly what they did. And to be fair to them, they defended really well. I mean, it could have been 4 or 5 if you go with the. How many was it in the end? 6 that hit the post. It felt like the how Bruno doesn't score is beyond me.
Oh, what was that about?
From Wilson, I think he got to the point where he thought he was going to clatter into the post and just stopped instead of concentrating on putting the ball away. But yeah, I mean, it could have been a hatful tonight. It didn't fall right.
But on another night, it would have been.
Yeah, and look, they go into the weekend now. Only 2 points off. They have a game against West Ham. They play West Ham are going to be sort of focused now. They're safe. They're going to be focused on the Euro final.
Might have flip flops.
Do they get an easier ride at the weekend? Everton have got Bournemouth, I think. So
Bournemouth at Goodison. I can see them beating them though. I can see them winning that though.
Yeah,
I think Bournemouth will have the flip flops on.
But there's definitely the chance that they've given themselves a chance by getting a point tonight. It's not much of a chance, I don't think. But yeah, I mean, just go back to your comments about Anderson. I thought he played very well. I thought early on his link up with Isak was great. The one criticism I have from him tonight is just a little bit more belief in himself. Just
that'll come though. That'll come.
It will. It's not play. He seemed a little bit too reliant on Isak at times when there was space for him to just cut into himself. But it'll come. It's his second start, for God's sake. I'm probably being really harsh, but look, I thought he played well. I thought, there was no bad player in that side. I thought everybody did a job. Didn't come off tonight. They've hit the posts three times,
22 shots, 23 shots or something like that, 3 on target.
Everson's pulled off a couple of decent saves. But I mean, in the end, Jesus. Nick Pope, to keep yourself switched on for 92 minutes and pull that in. It's a nice height for him, but he's switched on enough to make sure it goes away. And Jesus, your heart's in your mouth at that point as a Newcastle fan, wasn't it? You're just sitting there going, oh, Christ.
Yeah. It wouldn't be us if we didn't do it the hard way. But Nick Pope, for me, is 100% our number one goalkeeper going into the Champions League. I don't think we'll get an upgrade or whatever some people are saying. When he can pull off saves like that, he's got to be number one. Crimson Lip is saying the annoying thing, Chelsea will always play. Well, we'll play the same way Leicester have. We're going to have to get used to that. Teams are going to do low block against us because we're so dangerous going forward that this is what teams are going to do. Next season, when we upgrade on the players, if you replace Mickey Almiron, for example, with the Moussa Diaby, for argument's sake, if you if you have, Joe Litton, Bruno, and I don't know, let's just be fanciful and say Declan Rice or something there, right? That's very fanciful. But if you say we replace with quality players, they're going to be low blocking even more because they'll be even more threatened about what we can do going forward. So this is just going to be the norm, really, I think. But I'll bring them on. Fuck them. Eddie Howe will find another way to get around these teams because he's such a good coach. Manager of the season for me, Mark, Eddie Howe, 100%. What do you think about that? I'm putting you on the spot. 20 minutes in. Eddie Howe, manager of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think of that list, De Zerbi's done a fantastic job at Brighton. I think, that has Pep exceeded expectations at Man City? No, they've won the league. I would have expected them to do that. They've done it really well in the second half of the season. Arteta, I mean, the team's fallen off over the last 2 months, but they've had an exceptional season. Emery's turnaround of Villa, going from 17th or whatever it was to virtually within sight of Europe as well, I think has been an incredible turnaround. But I mean, sorry, but you've got a Newcastle side that when he took over, they were 19th, got them safe last season. No one in their right mind saw Champions League really. If I think if everybody's being honest, nobody saw it coming. I think from a lot of the comments pre-game that Sky were interviewing fans, they would have been just happy with progress, happy with top 10, happy with the cup run, that sort of thing. This has just blown everybody out of the water, and it's been, how can he not win Manager of the Year?
Yeah, absolutely. Relegation to Champions League is unbelievable, as Kendo says. And as Marty Brewster says, get in there 18 months on from Brucey Ball and win the Champions League. Again, it just shows you that the club are totally right to get rid of one of the see you next Tuesday lists, fully deserving of his place. Just Steve Anderson saying there, a nerve-wracking end to an astonishing season. Love to Eddie and the lads. He was despondent during the reign of Bruce, like we all were, mate. Final straw. I never felt like I'd ever feel the way he did under KK and Sir Bobby, and now he does. It's absolutely class, mate. It's great to read those comments because that really tells you what it means to the fans. And I love Alexander Arnold said he's still recovering at the hospital and his nurses came in 5 times because his heart rate went through the roof. I can imagine you had a team around you with that.
You're all right, man.
I hope you're okay, pal. Breathe easy now. Breathe easy. We've made it. We're in the Champions League. Kevin saying TalkSport had it. Yeah, they were so pro last. It doesn't surprise me, mate. Not at all. Sky Sports commentators weren't great either. I mean, BT aren't great either when it comes to us. I do think there is fuel to this hidden agenda against Newcastle United. Well, that's one for your stats, brain, Mark. Wonder Trippier has a record in the league for the most touches. And he did have loads of touches tonight. To be fair, mate, man of the match, just talking about it, man of the match for me was Kieran Trippier, mate. I don't know about you. I thought he was fucking colossal tonight. I thought defensively and offensively, I just thought he was everywhere. The Sky commentators give it to Harry Suter. I thought, what the fuck is that about? We've dominated them lot. I know you're saying they've kept a clean sheet, but do me a favor.
Yeah, I think that's the only reason. Like Trippier, was it 162 touches? Kieran Trippier had the ball. And
was that tonight? 162 touches
tonight. Yeah, 88% passing from 112 passes, 20 crosses, but only 3 accurate. 16 of 19 long balls. He's won 4 of 8 duels. 3 key passes and 1 big chance created. 162 touches the ball for your right back. Let's just remember he's your right back. This nice central midfielder. This isn't Manchester City's midfield. Bruno touched it 123. Just as a comparison.
Bruno looked better tonight, I thought. Bruno looked a bit more like Bruno tonight. Mind you, that tackle, by the way, that was a bit on the naughty side. When I first seen it, because I thought in general the ref was shit all game. I don't think he gave as much protection. I didn't think he was a great referee. He very, very lethargic, very... but the tackle looked a bit annoying in slow motion.
Ooh,
that's what I'm saying. The tackle. Bruno was a very lucky boy, I think, for that one.
That was awful. I think he's saved by the fact that it was a slow-paced one, and I think that's it.
If he'd gone in full tilt, that's a straight red, that.
And I think the Sky commentators say the same thing at that point. I think he was incredibly lucky not to have been sent off for that, because it was unlike him to have got in so high. And I don't think there was any malice in it. It was just purely mistimed, but it's high. It's in the thigh.
Does that worry you a bit for Champions League? Does that worry you? No. Bruno gets a bit hepped up doing stuff like that in the Champions League? No?
I think when you get into that sort of stage, the game's a little bit different to the way that the Premier League is played, isn't it? And like we said before, if you're going to add a few more quality players around him, the pressure on him becomes less. So he's allowed to play a much more natural
relax
game.
And play his game a bit more.
Exactly.
Yeah. And he's not having to defend as much if we get a proper 6. He's not going to have to defend as much. Yeah.
Exactly. So he's allowed to just get on with it. Yes, he's always going to have those fiery minutes. He's got that in him. But look, he's got away with one tonight. I don't think he'll see another challenge particularly like that from him. He gets the odd one where he mistimes one. The one against Southampton in the semi-final was one.
Yeah.
But Not like that. It was a poor tackle. He was lucky. I don't think it's anything to worry about.
I love how he just didn't look like he gave a fuck at all. Most players go "Oh, sorry, are you okay, mate?" He was just chewing his gum, going, "Oh, fuck."
He was more furious the fact that he got booked for it. I mean, Jesus Christ, yeah.
He's mint, man. I just love him so much. It was just that like chewing of the gum. He just goes, "I don't fucking care." He just walks away. I just love the bloke. He's absolutely class, mate. But yeah, I thought in all fairness, I think everybody, even though it was a bit of a shady game, everyone did their part. I thought, Wilson tried to get in the end of things. A bit frustrating for Wilson. He was feeding on scraps a bit. Isak, I mean, at one point, I had 3 men on Isak at one point. 3 men that were that scared of the bloke. So I think he did look a bit lively. Miggy looked a bit better tonight as well. I thought the back 4 looked good. But I think come Chelsea, there'll be massive changes to the last game. And I think that's Bruno's last game now, because I think they'll send him off to get this ankle operation. They've been dying to get him sorted for. So I think he'll go off and get his ankle sorted after this. So, hopefully he'll be in better shape. Just before you talk, Mark, how sweet is that comment? We are finishing above Liverpool. How sweet is that comment, mate? I love it. Go on, mate. What you said?
Yeah. It's that thing. I've sat for the last 2 weeks going, what's the lesser of two evils with who finishes in the top 4 with you? Is it Man U or is it Liverpool? I'm so happy it's not Liverpool.
Oh, mate, I think it's amazing. I love it.
I guess they could still just about make it. I don't think they will.
That Man U lose.
They're not 3 points behind Man U in Man U.
Let's have a look.
Because Man U's goal difference is so much worse.
I need to look at this now. So Man United are on 69 points and Liverpool are on 66. Man United's goal difference is only plus 11. And Liverpool's is plus 28. Yeah, so fucking hell. Is that because they got that tanking 8-0 or whatever from Liverpool? Is that what done them over?
They've just not scored many goals at all this season. But I mean, who did Man U play last game of the season? They've got. Hang on, they've still got 2. They've still got they've got Chelsea and Fulham, haven't they? So they've still got another.
Oh, Man U,
they'll have to lose twice. Yeah, anyway, so Klopp's not making it to the Champions League again, which is hilarious. So let's all laugh at that.
Brilliant. Speaking of Champions League, John says, has the budget now trebled? And Ash thinks the budget is going to be 250 to 300 million. Now, interestingly enough, there was a story doing the rounds before the game that Eddie Howe had said that Newcastle are going to be in for a couple of marquee signings. Now, to be honest with you, financial fair play aside, right? There's corporate deals coming. There's already corporate deals there. We know there's more corporate deals coming. We've just qualified for the Champions League. We're going to be the top 4 of the league, all the TV money and everything else that goes with that. We've got documentary money coming, right? So the books are going to look good, right? I think there will be at least 2 or 3 proper signings, big money signings. And I think Audie said this a few weeks ago, and I totally agree with him. We will break our record again this summer. Yeah. We will go above that 63 million for Alexander Isak. No question in my mind. But here's one for you, Mark. I've got to throw it in. He came on at half time. He had a couple of little moments. Is Maddison still on the radar?
I don't think so. I don't think he comes north. I think he goes south. Yeah.
Really? You think he's going to Spurs?
I think he's going to Spurs. I genuinely do. I agree with. Excuse me. I agree with some of the comments from last week. Actually, that I'm not sure he. I really don't think he fits the style anymore.
Yeah, he will. Sorry, Steve. I love that.
if that.
Steve, look, I hate to be Luke Edwards' kids when he tells them about Santa. He probably tell them about fucking 3 years old, probably, and just watch them cry because he loves to shit on people's cornflakes, doesn't he? Sorry, Mark, God, I'll throw it off your stride.
No, it's all right. Look, I think there are better options than Maddison. I genuinely do in terms of what Newcastle want to do with the ball and the way that they play. I'm not sure Maddison fits the bill. But I mean, he'd be a tremendous signing. But I just think there's better options for the way that Eddie Howe has set them up. I think there's better options.
Yeah. Comment for Vincent there. We won't sell ASM. There's a few players. I think we will sell ASM personally. I think he's gone. I think ASM's gone. Comment from Russell there. Great stuff, lads. Have fun watching you this season. Thank you very much, Russell. Looking forward to next season. Well done, Champions League. Here we come. Do you know what? This is going to change our podcast for next season as well, Mark. We were talking about this because we normally do a live show on the Wednesday. but we're Champions League.
Something else is going to happen on Wednesday night next season.
What's going to happen? Maybe watch the intro video again just to remind ourselves. But yeah, it's going to change the dynamics of our podcast as well. So yeah, we'll very much be doing I think probably match previews and then live match reactions on Wednesday nights rather than the old Evermore podcast, mate. So yeah, but it's a positive change. We love it. We absolutely love it. John's rightly so saying their new sponsor will be named in the morning. Now we've secured Champions League. Yeah, that's a fair shout, that.
Well, that was always likely to happen once Newcastle knew exactly where they were going to be, that the full details of the sponsorship would come out. I think the sponsor's been there for ages anyway. It's just a matter of money, because the number that they can put against it in terms of whatever the Premier League call it, in terms of the fairness of what they allow a sponsor to do, it's obviously going to be a much higher value than if you're in Europa League or the Europa Conference League, or not in Europe at all. So the numbers just tick up and up and up, and it's just, again, we said before, it's just the future now is massively bright, because the amount of money coming in now will be huge.
You enjoy Thursday nights, Clippy. You enjoy them, sunshine. I'm not letting that talk go.
Nice trip to Azerbaijan for Klopp on a Thursday night.
You enjoy it, Jurgen. You enjoy it, mate. Yeah, you fucking teeth will lead the way. So Tiger Studio is just saying, tell me, mommy, why he's going to Barcelona. Where the lads? Fucking love it. I'd love to get Barcelona. What a game that would be, man. Absolutely.
Not going to Juventus, though, after the news tonight.
What's that, Juventus?
10 points in Serie A, so they're now out of Europe.
That's all right. Yeah. We can just be the best team in Europe in a black and white shirt, then, mate. That's it. We've got that easily in the bag. Love that, Kendo. Smash the like button, like we've smashed expectations. Well done, mate. You're getting me off the hook with Mark. Yeah, smash the like button, everybody, if you can. Scrolling down this list here, what else have we got? Loads of comments from you guys. Everybody's buzzing. Everyone's really excited. George is just reacting to your Trippier thing. Fucking hell, 162. He's unbelievable, mate. Honestly, Trippier probably passes in his sleep. He just gets like a rolled up ball of socks and just like has a touch, another touch, then kicks it in the washing bin. So absolutely buzzing. Carl's jumping in the comments there. He's there. Good to see you, Carl. Top man. He's pinging away in our chat group all night, as Carl, as is Ash as well. What else we got here? Yeah, new monkeys in the house. Eddie Howe Champions League shit house mags. Love it, mate. Absolutely love it. Adrian saying, get the feck in. 21 years and 9 years. 9 years old he was when. Sorry, he's aged 9 years after watching that. Sorry, I thought you said you were 9 years. I'm delirious with excitement. Trolls is saying, wonder if. What's that kid's name again, Mark? I can't say his name. Wonder if. That's it. Yeah.
Slobberslai.
I get that. Yeah. To be fair, though, he did say they said you're going to stay, and he said next question. And then he also said he can't wait to get back into the Champions League. Richard's in the comments saying, aye, Toon Madison and that Muckle Quiff can stay down south. He's not having Madison. He's been saying that for weeks and weeks now, mate. Absolutely. So scrolling down here, what have we got here? I don't know what that means. Let's have a look here. L. Stapleton, Les. I hope you're enjoying your prizes, Les. You heard that they've got McAllister, son of apparently Liverpool. Now, I can see that. I can see him going to Liverpool because, whether we like it or not, Liverpool is still a big club. They've had a shit season. I think they'll come back stronger next season. I really do. But they need a revamp of that squad, absolutely. But you know what? We are going to be after the same players that they're going to be after. And I think, and you know what? Fair play, Vincent. I say no to Barnes. I thought he was poor as well. And you know what? Tielemans. Totally changed my mind on Tielemans. I was talking to a Leicester fan today, actually. And what's disappointed me the most about Tielemans, Mark, is when you need your big players to stand up, he's gone missing completely. Like tonight, he was fucking around, smiling half the time tonight, like he was playing a pre-season game.
There was one moment tonight where I thought, do you know what, that's the class of the player comes out. There's a bit of footwork in the first half. That was it.
Yes, I saw that.
I'm sorry, but he is one of your marquee players. And it's just you go, well, hang on, we want more. If you're a Leicester fan, we want more from you. You're one of our best players, and you've done absolutely nothing. There's no way that you can be happy with the way that he's performed over the last part. Well, most of this season, to be fair, he's been awful. And yeah, if you're going to down tools like that, I'm sorry, no, you don't. He's going to have plenty of suitors. He really will, but he's just no. I wouldn't go anywhere near him.
No, and hanging with the Nomies is saying he would rather have your man, Sobersley. There you go. Him over Madison, and I think Devlin's saying as well that we can get better than Barnes cheaper abroad. And that is the problem. You pay that British tax, don't you? But we're not here to talk about Leicester, which was a shame. They went down. I do like Leicester as a club. To be fair, I think Leicester have been very good for a long time, and it's a shame that they've gone down. Hopefully, they can get themselves back right. Coming up next season, I think Vardy will do well from the Championship. He needs to pay his wife's legal fees, doesn't he? To be fair, so he's going to have to play for another season. But Anthony's in the comments there saying £5 donation. You're top man, Anthony. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, man.
Really appreciate it, mate. If we get Rice, how long before we get him playing alongside Gordon and people start going on about Anton Deck at Newcastle? That's class, mate. That's way better than that.
I didn't even consider
Rice
that.
Shit to me. That's way better than that Paqueta Rice bollocks that Sky came up with, mate. Absolutely. And nice to see Les is loving his prizes. Good man. I hope that street sign is hung up somewhere nice and safe. I had a nightmare trying to pack that thing up. I had to rely on the boss to help me out, the wife. So thank God she managed to get the right packaging for that, mate. I tell you what. So just scrolling down the list here. What else we got? Channel right, 2 right. That save by Pape was Pope was worth millions. Pape, who's Pape? Pope, that was worth millions. It was scary. It was. I shit myself then, I must admit. But I mean, like you said, Mark, to switch back on was absolutely incredible. Comment there from Stephen saying if Ward-Prowse is available for 25 million, then for sure, I mean, that'll be our budget gone according to Edwards. Yeah, Luke's getting it tonight. But I mean, the Ward-Prowse one's an interesting one because we'll probably get into this more, I think, on pods in the close season. We're talking about transfers and everything else. Have Newcastle now, by qualifying the Champions League, have we stepped away from guys like Ward-Prowse? Are we better than that? Do we need to aim for higher than that?
I think so, because I don't see, other than the dead ball situation, what does he bring?
What else can he do?
I think he'd be a very good player in that midfield. But does he get in ahead of Sean Longstaff, for example? And I'm not sure he does. He'll give you brilliant delivery, but I don't think he gives you the same level of work that Longstaff does. I think there's elements to Longstaff's game that he needs to improve still. But look, he was a massive miss when he didn't play. And it's telling how much work he puts on the field when he's there and how much he's missed. I just don't think he's a significant enough upgrade on what's already there. You bring him in, he's likely to come in as a squad player, and I'm not sure he will be happy with that. He's going to want to play every week. I just don't think that's going to happen at Newcastle.
I can see him going to someone like West Ham or something like that. I think that'll probably fit him. Maybe even Spurs, to be fair. Yeah, Tommy's being a bit naughty there, saying Madison didn't want to cross the ball in case he missed out on Champions League next season. I do like that. Yeah, a little bit of conspiracy theory there about James Madison. Just scrolling down there, Ash is saying that he's not, Ward-Prowse isn't good pressing-wise, which is obviously not good for us at all, because, we definitely need that. Another one about Ward-Prowse, Monkey saying he's just a free kick merchant and nothing else. T-Dog saying, interesting that Eddie said after the game, indicating that a pool of players we can sign is somewhat limited, even with Champions League. I think Eddie always likes to keep people guessing, doesn't he? Doesn't like to turn anybody on to the targets that he's after. But you got to think as well, look at some of them players that Ashworth pulled out the bag for Brighton, the Kisiedos and McAllisters and guys like that. I mean, if Ashworth can go and find us 2 or 3 of them, fucking hell, I mean, we could really have some players on our hands, and the capital outlay will be next to nothing, on those kind of players if he's capable of that kind of scouting network.
Absolutely. I mean, look at the endless list of them, isn't it? The Caicedo, the McAllister, Encico, Stupien. I mean, the list just goes on and on of players that no one had ever heard of, really. If everybody's honest, no one had really ever heard of, and they've been brilliant. And it's testament to the job that they did at Brighton. And look, if he's half as successful in that regard, you're going to bring in some absolute stars.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that comment, Lynn. We really appreciate you coming back.
Thank you.
You come back and watch as many episodes as you want. We'll try and get as many up as we can. Gibbo's saying there that he hasn't heard any concrete rumours as far as number 6 goes. Heard any? I mean, there's obviously loads of names linked, and there'll be so many more names linked. We'll be so busy doing rumour hazards. So with some of your stack computer might start smoking. We might have to look to get some upgrades put in. But I think for me, the biggest player, and there was another player, actually, my dad threw him in. I was talking to my dad earlier in the day, he threw this in there. And I think we've talked about this in the channels. So if Declan Rice is too expensive for you, what about Calvin Phillips? You know, can you get him out that City side? He's barely kicked the ball. Can you do it?
He started at the weekend.
We did, and he scored. But is he going to get a game? Is he going to start more next season, or is he going to say, do you know what, that Newcastle project's exciting, Champions League football, I can play more regular, I fancy a bit of that, or will he just say, "Oh fuck, I'm happy to sit and earn me money at Spurs"? It's a funny one, isn't it?
Because some of the City players have taken a season to get good, basically.
True. Grealish is a good example.
Grealish is a massive example in that regard. He's been sensational this season. He was pretty average last season. I think Morris took a little bit of time to settle in to the club too, but they're going to want to move on. The likes of Gundogan, I think, are moving on in the summer. Although whether that will end up happening, but he's out of contract. Does Pep see enough in Phillips to keep him? Does he trust him enough to play in that midfield in a Champions League game, for example? I'm not sure he does. Is that an ominous sign for a Newcastle team looking to sign him as well? Because then, does he not fit? I think he'd be a very good player in that centre of that Newcastle midfield. I think he would be. You know, he's shown how good he can be when he's played for England. He's sensible with the ball. He doesn't do an awful lot wrong. He will feed the players around him. Carrick-esque, I want to say, without being that level where he just plays everything very, very sensibly, and allows the players around him to play the ball and to be the creators, and allow the likes of Bruno to just dominate with possession in terms of attacking threat.
Yeah,
Agate, I would agree. I think would be a great signing.
There's a couple of shouts for Agate, and again, just Mabraki saying there, we should capitalise on this miraculous achievement and spend 2 summer budgets in one, 250 million quid. You got to get the right characters in as well, and Howe is all about the right characters, isn't he? To be fair, so I don't think we'll see loads of egomaniacs come in. I must admit, coming from me in there saying Sky put a Erdlinger advert on a half time. I went ape shit. My missus gave me a 1 game couch ban. Best season since we got promoted. Excellent, mate. Love it.
Speaking of misses, I'm just wondering, there was a comment earlier on from, was it New Monkey? Did you bring it up before from New Monkey? That one.
Oh, no, sorry, mate. No.
So I missed that earlier on before it came in. I hope everything goes well, man. That's
shit. Yeah, mate. Bloody hell. I hope everything's going all right, mate. Yeah, I didn't see that one. Sorry, Monkey, mate. Yeah.
Yes. I hope the new arrival comes safely and everything. So good. Excellent. I hope everything goes well.
Whether it's a boy or a girl, Eddie is a great name. I think you should bang that in there, to be fair, just in honour. Edwina, Edward, there's 2 ways you can do it. Gotta love it. Devlin's already saying he saw Messi in Greg's. Absolutely. He loves a pasty, mate. I hear he loves a pasty. What else we got here?
Does he like Bridges? Here we go.
Does he like Bridges? Why wouldn't he like Bridges? How will continue with ethos, young, hungry, and loads to prove, not superstars. He wants a tight squad, sensible wage. But you can't, the thing is, you can't knock them for what they've done so far. But the signs have been unbelievable. And not only that, Eddie's managed to get the best out of players in and around the squad. I mean, we asked that question, that there's players out the team at the minute, there's players who are injured, there's players whose contracts are up, and Eddie Howe's done such a good job with players that we were so done with. We were ready to throw in the reject bin with the rest of the raggy dolls, Emil Kraft, even Miggy to an extent, Joe Linton. People were like, once we start getting the new players, he can go as well. And, these guys now become fulcrums in our side. I mean, a few weeks ago, people were saying that Wilson should go at the end of the season. Now he's got 18 goals, so you just don't know whether Howe is capable of, we'll look at the kind of ins and outs, because the club will have to, come out and say who's been released soon enough. They haven't done that. I mean, I still wonder what he'll do with the likes of Matty Longstaff. He's still young enough to get something out of him. Does Eddie Howe look at him and think, you know what, I can I can get something out of this kid. I like him. He looks a good player. Get him back to fitness. Play a few reserve games. You just never know. So we don't know what Eddie Howe's going to do. That's what I love about him. You just got to second guess him. You just can't do it. He's also seen Neymar and Phoenix. Yeah, he'd love a Phoenix shopping spree. I think Neymar. God knows what he'd buy in there. He's got some rude gear, old Neymar, mate.
There's rumours earlier on tonight that Man U have serious bidding for him. I don't care really about Manchester United at all, but having been through the whole Ronaldo thing, is that the type of player they really wanted to bring in? I mean, they're welcome to, because he's great, but he's a pain.
Yeah, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you're Man United. Gibbo was saying a Raggy Dolls reference. Of course, mate, you got to love the 80s kids TV reference, mate. Oh, I love that. That's a great one by Tamuri Ketsbaya. Great to have him in the comments. Don't kick any more signs, you Raji. Milenkovic Savic. Now, that one I know, Milenkovic Savic, because I practiced that one before the room has it. He would be phenomenal, man. And Lukaku, no thanks for me. Jay Devlin, no thanks. Now, if anyone would love a fucking Greggs, it'd be that boy. He is a unit, mate. He'd be about 40 stone by the time he showed up for the first game of the season, to be honest with you. There's another comment. They thought the Longstaff was useless today, clumsy and he can't shoot. I don't think he was really ready to get thrown into a game like that. I think Sean's had a great season, to be fair, catch bias. I wouldn't go too full in on him. And we missed him when he wasn't there, which is sorry. I just see that other comment there. I'm going to come on in a minute. Neymar with these fans will die on the shirt anyway. Saying no to him is silly. You get legitimately saying, see, not for me. I just think he's a shit house, man. I think he would ruin the harmony. He would ruin the harmony. It was this one that made me laugh. Why is there so many fucking hate Man United? I just think it's because of the way they behave, mate, most of the time. I was
going to say, let's go back to that comment about why would you want the second best footballer on the planet? Just
very true. So I didn't miss that. I didn't miss that one. Absolutely, yeah. So Bruno's clearly the best. Bruno's clearly the best footballer player. Yeah. Do you know what's interesting? Actually, talking about some of the players that are up for grabs, and I think going back to City, we were talking about Phillips before, right? I think there's this, isn't there? This story is it Gavi and Pedri at Barca that they can't afford to keep them, or can't afford to keep one of them. One of them is destined for City, I think, in the summer, and that would free up more space, I think, for somebody like Phillips to be shoved out the door. So I think that's why Phillips could be a realistic target for us, mate. As Mark chokes to death, I will just come back in with that comment there.
Cautious sneeze there.
God, cautious sneeze. Yeah. How much value was Eddie added to our squad? It was impeccable training. Yeah, absolutely. He's earned wages fivefold, improved every player. I mean, Joe Linton saved us probably about 60 million quid alone, I think, in terms of that midfielder position. But going back to what I said there about the City midfield, mate, do you think that's about right?
Yeah, I mean, one of those two would walk into that City midfield and just perform. And they're gonna, like I say, if they're gonna lose the likes of Gundogan, that potentially then allows Phillips to walk out the door as well if you're going to bring in a player of that quality. So, that I guess that could bode well for Newcastle in that regard. They can bring in Phillips, because it does then free up a little bit more of Bruno's play further forward.
I really hope he is, Hector. I really hope he is. He deserves it. He's a monumental shithouse. Cat Spires back to comments saying he would get rid of Kraft, Manquillo, Lascelles, Byrne, Dummett, Target, Lewis, Gordon, Hayden, Henrik, Fraser, Ritchie. I agree with most of them, except I think Emil Kraft deserves another chance. I thought he was really good before he got injured. Great backup to Trippier, and can play centre half as well. So I think he's got a bit of that variety in his game. Manquillo probably will go, as much as I think he's been a decent servant. Lascelles the same, he'll go. Byrne, I think, will stay and be the left back up. I actually think Target will go. I think we'll sell Target, because I'm starting to hear a lot of noise about Kieran Tierney as an in the bag. And again, my dad being a Celtic fan, there was loads of talking amongst the Celtic chat groups, which, I'm sure that there's people within there who probably know the guy or know friends of the guy. And apparently that Tierney at Newcastle is a done deal. The deal is done. So I think that'll be one of the first ones to be announced in the summer,
I think, well, my only hold up is the injury record of him.
His injury record,
he's been fit this season, although he's not played an awful lot. He's a cracking fullback, though. He will give you supply going forward too. from the opposite side, he's going to get forward an awful lot more than Dan Burn can. You've said it about Dan Burn before, and absolutely not question his play at all, because he's been brilliant this season. But there are times when you want the ball to go forward quickly, and he's a little slow in getting. He's not quite as comfortable on the ball. He's better than he was, but he does still lack that little bit of quality with the ball going forward. And if you can get a better supply from that side as well, then you've just opened up the options, and it then frees up a little bit more for Trippier, because at the moment it's not really stopping anybody, but everybody knows that the majority of the play is going to go.
Player goes down the right hand side, yeah, absolutely,
exactly. Yeah. And although, having said that, against Brighton, it was very clear that the Newcastle were very much playing to the opposite, so they were trying to sort of hold Mitoma quiet and allow Dan Burn to get forward, and Brighton just seemed to be allowing to get forward much more, but he just doesn't have the quality when he gets to the other end of the field. And I think somebody like Tierney would just be a massive upgrade in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I mean, so going back probably to tonight, I think, I suppose finishing up the game again, we didn't do the play-by-play because there wasn't really a great deal. There was a lot of huffing and puffing, but we couldn't really blow the door down. So, do you think the last game of the season, and we'll do our Chelsea preview and everything else as well, do you think the last game of the season there'll be wholesale changes to that team, or do you think Eddie's more likely to go with his kind of regular starting 11 to finish the season strong and try and get a win?
I don't think there's an awful lot of change. Unless there's injuries, I don't think there's much change at all. You're right. You might see Bruno sit out now. He doesn't have to play. If Joelinton's fit, Joelinton plays.
Yeah.
I think that's the way you see it. He's not going to suddenly just sit 10 players just for the sake of it. I don't think he's that sentimental for some of the players that might head out. Some of the ones that might be on the way might get a run out towards the end of the game if the game allows it. But other than that, I can't see there being too many changes.
Absolutely. Just a comment there. And Tierney Vincent saying a lot of Arsenal fans are pissed off if they sell him, barring his injuries. A very good left back. I think the thing as well about Tierney, people tend to forget because it seems like he's been around forever. He's only 25, and he's got loads of Champions League experience with his Celtic days. He's a leader. He's wore a captain's armband for his country. He's played obviously for Arsenal for a long time. Played European competitions for Arsenal. He's exactly the type of character that you would need to be in that squad. So for me personally, like you say, if you can get him fit, and look at Callum Wilson. Callum Wilson's perpetually injured. Maxie's a China doll, and he's been able to manage them too quite well. So he'll be able to manage Tierney, away from those injuries. I think I'm sure he'll be able to manage his body and his training regime to the best of his ability, and that might be a reason again why Tierney wants to sign for the guy. Because you might think, you know what, if you can look what he's done with Callum Wilson, who's had loads of injury problems. If you can get it right with Callum, you can get it right with me. And I think that's another appeal Eddie Howe's going to have in the market is a lot of these players will be looking, going, this guy can take my game to another level. Look what he's done with Joelinton. Look what he's done with Almiron. Look what he's done with Longstaff. There'll be people in their teams. I mean, Maddison's a great example. I know you're saying he might go down south. James Maddison's right now, he's at a crossroads in his career. Leicester probably will go down. They look like they will go down. And even if they don't go down, he's not going to want to stay in a team that's going one way. So he'll be sitting there looking at himself thinking, he's already talked about how great the atmosphere is in St. James's Park. And he'd be looking around, looking at the flags before the game. Big shout out to War Flags, by the way, before the game. We haven't even talked about that. That was sensational. He's so excited about the game. That display was probably the best I think they've done yet. And it was unbelievable, phenomenal. The huge big flag that we had up on the whole screen there with Eddie and all the lads, the work these guys put in. And we've had Thomas on the show before, the work these guys put in to create the atmosphere. And now they're going to get a chance to do that in European football as well. I'm just as excited for them as I am for the players, to be fair. So massive respect to War Flags and everything that they do. Absolutely awesome. Well done, guys. Every single one of you, to a man and woman. You're absolute legends. So jumping back to Maddison, he's looking at it thinking, I'm drifting away from the England scene now because my team's gone this way. And he looks at this manager. And you look at Spurs. It's not settled at Spurs. They're going to lose a star player probably this summer, right? Spurs are in a huge state of flux. Never mind Bright Lights, big city. So if he's got a choice between Newcastle and Spurs, Mark, surely as a footballer, he's going to go to the manager that can improve his game, isn't he?
I guess there's a lot of bias in terms of that decision for you, but no, I think if you look at it, if Spurs are going to lose Kane, what do they do afterwards? If they could miss out on European football completely. So are you jumping out of Leicester and going to Spurs, and then you're just fighting for the top 7 every season? Because I think Spurs are far enough out of it, and especially if they lose Kane, they're not going to get back into the fight for the Champions League anytime soon. I just don't think you can recreate what you lose out of Harry Kane. So you're jumping into a side that's going to be scraping almost West Ham-esque over the last few seasons, where they might do well but fall away, or that they'll compete for 6th or 7th, and that's it. That's not what James Maddison surely wants. He wants to play on the biggest stage. He's proved in the Premier League over the last few seasons he will create goals and he will score goals through open play, through set pieces. He is good enough to do it. I mean, it should be a no-brainer if there was a straight choice between the two clubs. Which one do you go to? It's got to be Newcastle every time, hasn't it? Because at the moment, Spurs are a basket case.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big test of where Maddison wants to go in his career. And I think a lot of people will judge him based on the decision if he has a choice of both. We've got Ethan in the comments, who I think is a Leicester fan. He says, cheers for the points, but he also says congrats on the top 4. So you're welcome, Ethan. We're not bothered. You guys are happy with the point. One last game for you to try and stay in the Premier League. So good luck to you guys at the weekend with that, mate. Another comment from the other George. He's thinking long-term in European football, and we need 2 squads. Left back, do you think Burn a target with Tierney? I think it'll be Burn as backup, and Tierney is the number 1 left back. Is what I
think Target goes as well. I think Target moves on.
Target's gone. I think Target will end up maybe he's going to Brighton or something like that, or whatever. Those kind of teams. Maybe one of the ones that come up or something like that. Possibly he's a good player, Target. But I don't think he'll want to be 2nd or 3rd choice left back. I think this season's probably made him think, I'm not really involved. I'm involved, but I'm not involved, type of thing. No disrespect, but when the centre half's taking your position all season, you've got to worry a little bit about what a manager really thinks about you, in all fairness. Another comment there from Richard saying Eddie has worked wonders with the old players. Gordon will come good. Just be patient as well. Sorry, Mark. You just put a little slam in there. You just decided to do your little bit of creativity editing. Go on, Mark.
I've not created this. I've blatantly stolen this.
You've stolen this.
There you go.
All hail, King of the North. I love that, mate. He is the King of the North. There's no doubt about that. Well done, whoever's done that on Twitter. That's a good shout, actually. I could see Target maybe going to Burnley. That is a good shout. Possibly that could be a move for him. They're back in the Premier League. I did see Company, was he watching the Liverpool game, looking cool as fuck, by the way, the other day. I mean, what a manager he's going to be on the sideline next season. That'll be interesting to see that as well. Got coming there from Will the Jordans again. Sorry to get on late, and if questions have been asked, what chance do we have for Rice? I'd love him here, but what can we offer him at other clubs, over other clubs at the top? We did talk a little bit about Rice there before, Jordies, but I think with Rice, Rice is a special player. I mean, you saw the way. He represents West Ham. That great video with that little lad and stuff like that. He's a very. I don't think he's one of the modern day players who are driven by money and greed and all that, and bright lights, big city type of a thing. I mean, he is a London boy, so I think that will go in the favour of maybe an Arsenal, as you say, Kev. Maybe an Arsenal, maybe even a Chelsea if he fancies the ambition there. Pochettino will probably try and get Kane. I reckon that'll be his number 1 target. And if Harry goes there, maybe Declan Rice will go, you know what, we can go and build that team back up. But I think what we could offer him, I mean, you've only got to sit back and look at that Wall Flags display tonight. That's what we can offer him. Mark always says it, you show that to anybody, that's your marketing piece. Imagine playing in that atmosphere week in, week out. So many away players all say it's the best atmosphere they've ever experienced. And you hear them on podcasts, you hear them on talking about it at Sky. It's the best experience. They always talk about the ground, and Newcastle United has it's gone up a level, Mark, hasn't it? Even when we were shit, it was still a great place to go and watch football, and everyone was behind the lads, and the stadium right in the middle of the city and everything else. But what we've done now with War Flags and just the positivity and the ambition in the air is taken it to another level. So something like that might appeal to Declan Rice, and if he goes into that midfield, he's a huge linchpin in that midfield, in that team.
Massively.
He's one of the spinal kind of, bones of that team alongside Bruno and Pope, and Botman and Isak. And, Rice could be a real big player for us. So that'll probably be the pitch. And I think we will go for him. But yeah, I can probably see an Arsenal or maybe even, dare I say, a Man United for Rice, mate. But I'd love to go for him. I'd love to have him in there. But I do think Phillips might be a more achievable option.
He's definitely the cheaper option of the two. I think 120 million is what West Ham have said that they want from a Champions League team. Look, if the budget's 300 odd million, if you can spend that much, and that, I think it's an achievable one. I do. If your budget is up at around that level, it depends on what you can do in terms of how it works. Is it spread over time with them? Is it 120 million straight off? I don't think any transfer at that level will be that much. Is it 80 million plus add-ons, which is a distinct possibility for something, and that brings it into the realms of, okay, you can do this. So it's not out of the realms of possibility. Now that you've made Champions League, Rice is on the cards because that's where he'll want to go and play.
Yeah, he's got to be. And good shout by Trolls there. Our youth team will be invited to the UEFA Youth League coming out. Wow, awesome as hell. But again, that'll make them better players as well, playing against better competitions. The under-19s is what Troll means. And again, as we said there earlier on, Jordy, there's going to be marquee signings, and why not? We are Champions League. In case you didn't know, Mark, got it up there. Have a look. Rabiot on a free. We did talk about that in the rumour has it. I'm not too keen on Rabiot, especially given the fact his mum tells off managers. I'm not keen on that. He seems like a bad news signing, I think, mate.
He's a cracking footballer, but it's what he brings with him, and I can't imagine that Eddie and everybody will stand for too much crap. Is he too much baggage that comes with him in that regard?
Yeah, I think you might be right.
If he's free, he's got plenty of experience at international level and in the Champions League. You're not going to find an awful lot better in that position, especially for that sort of value.
I totally agree. And one last comment there, Mike saying, can we have Rice, please, to go with our sweet and sour Bruno and Joe Linton? What a combo that would be. I must admit that midfield three, I think you'd struggle to find a better midfield three in the league than Declan Rice, Bruno and Joe Linton at full tilt. I think that would be unbelievable, mate. I really, really do. It would be absolutely fantastic. A couple of last comments there. Just before we shoot off for now, because it's 11. We've got a comment there saying Diaby has got to happen. Still can't believe Almiron is that bad with his right foot. It's embarrassing. Yeah, I mean, he did do well tonight, Mickey, but I can see the Diaby one happening. I really could do. But Mark, if you get Diaby for 60 million euros, so what's that, high 50 millions? And if you get Rice for say it's 120, right? You've still got a kind of chunk of change left over there. You get Tierney for 30 million as a left back. You've got three fucking unbelievable players that walk straight in the starting lineup there, really.
Absolutely. And if you've got two or three players that then, or even more, that go out for 30, 40, 50 million, that's a good chunk of that back end too. So
absolutely.
This is, add all the money that's going to flow into the club now. It's not out of the realms of possibility for you to go out and sign those 3 or 4 marquee players now and really kick on to the next level. So, a Tierney, a Rice, a Diaby, add in the centre back lad we were talking about the other day, Todibo.
Oh yeah, it's Todibo. He's a smashing lad. Yeah, he's a smashing player.
The price will be relatively high there, but again, you're going to have the means to go and do this. FFP won't be as much of an issue because you've got so much money then coming through in terms of commercial revenue. So it's, that's a huge positive.
That's a good
shout to Murray. I do like Thuram, and he will be available on a free, and will want Champions League football again.
And now we've got it. But it opens up so many more players to us now. If you think about the agents we've been talking to, the players we've been talking to, and they'll be like, oh yeah, Newcastle, they're doing bits, they're doing quite good, but are they really going to finish in the Champions League? Or maybe just hang on until I see what happens. And all of a sudden, bang, we're in the Champions League, all these players. It doesn't make them shit houses by thinking it, because they want to be in the highest competitions to get themselves at national football and all that other stuff, and and progress their game and everything else. And if they now look and go, oh, Newcastle United are in the Champions League, right, that changes the whole dynamic for me. Yes, I'm interested in going huge stadium, massive club, going in the right direction. Bruno Guimaraes, Isaac, Trippier, Botman. You look around and go, I'm just thinking about players that would maybe guys abroad would recognize, guys from La Liga, guys from Ligue 1, guys from Serie A, guys from Bundesliga. They'll recognize these players and they'll see, the likes of Botman and Bruno were two of the most sought after young players in European football. And they've come to Newcastle and they've excelled. So, for a younger player, absolutely, Roger, good to see you, mate. He's probably just got back in from the game. But these guys have seen these young players come to Newcastle and excel under this bright, articulate manager. And that's going to appeal to those guys as well, Mark. Now we've got the European bargaining chip to go back and talk to them with.
I know that strike is probably not a priority at the moment, but with what's gone on, and on that subject,
Trolls is ITK. Trolls is ITK.
Well, I mean, obviously with Juve's issues, does it open the door to Vlahovic coming to England? Is that then an option for him to is it a consideration for somebody like Newcastle to go and bring him
apparently
in?
Man United already think they signed him. I saw a thing on Twitter saying race for the Golden Boot next season between Haaland and Vlahovic. It was mocked up in a Man United shirt.
Is a race to Golden Boot to give it so the person to actually hand it to Haaland again?
Hand it to Haaland, yeah. That's what I thought they meant to be for. I thought Vlahovic must be really good at carrying trophies to Erling Haaland, because that's pretty much what they'd be doing, because that guy is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Yeah, good to see Howe's there. Yeah, absolutely. Eddie Howe's European mags. Ian's just jumped in late on. Get in, mate. Absolutely. So I think we're just about ready to kind of wrap up, really, mate. But what an unbelievable night, unbelievable season for Newcastle United. The Chelsea game kind of feels a little bit like the Lord Mayor's show, and it really nobody gives a fucking shit anymore.
It may just be a bit of an anticlimax, mightn't it?
Yeah, most people won't be asked, really. But, I think, to be fair, these lads deserve every ounce of praise they're going to get. I don't think they'll get as much praise in the mainstream media as they probably should do. I still think there's a little bit of an agenda there, a little bit of a hidden nuance about Newcastle United that I think will disappear in time. Man City had it. The difference was there wasn't as many media outlets to consume when City got bought out, whereas now there's so much media out there, social media, everything else. There's so many people that can dig the boot in about Newcastle and how we become, where we become. But I do think that'll turn around in time. I think, if we play well in the Champions League, we'll maybe progress to the group stages. We'll have another good season next season. Or all these naysayers on Sky Sports will start to slowly turn around and start talking about Newcastle as part of the top four picture. And that's really what we want, Mark, I think, in terms of the the longevity of the club. Got the more comments just before we shoot. Jason Brown, celebrate the moment or lose it as it passes. Very, very good.
Do you know what? Absolutely right. You can get caught in the whole thing and forget that it's actually happened because you're so focused on what's going on. Do you know what? To everybody now, this hasn't happened for, and I'm gonna sound really condescending, but look, this hasn't happened for so long for Newcastle fans. Just fucking enjoy it. Just fucking enjoy it. This is one of those things where nobody saw this coming so early. So just go out, have a drink, do whatever where you want to celebrate. Just enjoy it.
Yeah. Hug your mates, hug your kids. Yeah, high five. Honestly, people.
And this is just the start. Don't get too hung up on, and we will, because that's how we're going to look at what's going forward and signings and stuff. But just enjoy it. Enjoy every minute of it, because you've had so long of so much shit. Just enjoy the show.
Absolutely. Yeah, your comments are on there, Kev. Absolutely, mate. Yeah, we saw your comments, mate. Mark, Ian said, well said. Absolutely, mate. You're right. And big shout out to Jason there, who prompted you to get on your noble steed. And it's a great way to end the show, mate. Absolutely. It's a brilliant season, massive achievement from the lads. We'll be back on Wednesday to talk a bit more about this and kind of lap this up a little bit and then have one eye on Chelsea. Then we'll be wrapping up the season. We won't be back next Monday because Mark and I are off to a talking with some journalists. So we'll be having a break from what's going on next Monday. But we will be back with some more content in the meantime. So everybody, what a great night! As Mark says, drink it in. As Jason says, enjoy the moment. And Newcastle United are a Champions League side. What an unbelievable night for this club. Enjoyed, everybody. Thanks for watching. Have a cracking night. Like the video, and we'll see you later.
Don't forget to subscribe,
and subscribe.
If you haven't already as well.
You couldn't let me off, could you? You couldn't let me off. Bloody hell. Have a lovely night, everybody. Enjoy it. We'll see you later. Cheers, man.